All right. YouTube.
Do you notice that Facebook flips us?
Yeah.
Isn't that trippy?
Flicks us like a Polaroid picture.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World of Gray podcast. In a world divided by black and white arguments, we are here to explore the world of gray.
Yeah.
I am Kelowna's Cougar Meat Kid, Colin Cutler.
I am the unnamed Mike Chisholm, and I'm really happy to see you, man. It's good to be here.
I'm really happy to see you. We've seen a lot of each other lately.
I know.
The Rockets game on Wednesday.
We did. We've played some cards.
We've played some cards. You're quite talented at poker.
Thank you.
You're quite good. I'm very impressed with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Twice we've played together now, and you were quite good at the game they call poker. Poker, hardly know her.
I know, right? I love that one.
Boom.
I love that line. I have a little bit of game with it. When I decide to be good at poker, I'm good at it. When I decide to just have fun with it, I'm loose and I just give away all my money. So
yeah, it depends on the crowd, or it depends on my
100%.
mood, I guess.
Yep.
Also depends how much I've drank that day. I like to donate sometimes.
Yep.
So the bonus content is over. We're live here on Facebook.
No more bonus for you.
And on YouTube Live.
Yes.
So we're going to discuss a few different things in this podcast today.
Happily.
We're going to try to do a little bit of discussion for all different types of people. One thing I'd like to start discussing is the road less traveled. I am definitely one of these individuals. My dad always jokes that he raised circus folk.
Circus folk.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's quite how we have somebody on YouTube. As we could all hear.
Someone was looking for your damn beer or your damn bear. I couldn't see it.
What was that?
Someone's looking for your damn
Where's
beer.
my beer? I have no beer. I'm glad you asked that. We'll go back to the road less traveled in a bit. So Carrie asked, where's my beer? I did chug a beer during the holiday season, and that was entertaining for me. That was my beer hat. In case you missed that episode,
Yeah.
I had a Christmas beer hat that my fiance got me for my stocking. So I chugged a beer live, which actually threw the balance of the whole hat off. But now that the holidays are over, I am not drinking beer. I'm also avoiding bread for the most part. I'm just trying to clean up my diet. I'm on the I'm going to stop eating shit all the time diet, which is doing quite well. I was joking at work because I keep blaming my 30 metabolism for gaining weight.
Sure.
Because I did with the new management job. I went from about 156, 160 to about 176.
Hey,
which is quite the jump.
Is it showing up on the muscles?
It's almost, well, my legs a little bit. So there is a little bit of muscle gain in the legs. So, I mean, because I've always struggled with bringing in enough calories.
Hashtag leg day.
Anyway, so I
call my wife leg day. She's got very powerful legs. I always call her leg day.
Call her leg day?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's not cool because nobody likes leg day.
I'll say, hey, leg day. Oh, no, everyone loves leg day.
Everybody loves Candace.
Everyone loves her legs. Her legs are amazing.
So I always blame my 30 metabolism for gaining weight. And so anyway, Monday, as I'm driving to work, without sugar in my coffee, because I started with that, I just flipped the switch and I was like, that's it. I got to just clean up my diet. I just stopped eating shit food all the time.
Good for you.
And working out about the same, which I always do work out. And I've lost like 7 pounds already.
Yep.
And it's just literally just avoiding shitty junk food all the time. And the thing is, I know I manage a gym now, but I'm a personal trainer by certification. And I know what to do.
Yeah.
Just fucking doing it. Anyways, so that's why I'm not drinking beer. That's the whole Davey Dales. I ate almost an entire pizza last night.
He doesn't have 30-year-old metabolism, does he?
Yeah, he sure does.
Does he have 30-year metabolism?
Dave, how old are you now? He's like 34, I'm pretty sure.
Are you kidding me? Man.
Dave's getting snipped, by the way.
Really?
Dave's getting snipped.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't want to have kids.
Wow.
I'm not having kids, but that's not because I don't want to. That's not by my choice.
Okay.
We're just not having kids.
Right.
I would have a kid.
Yeah.
If anyone has an extra kid they want to give away, I'm kidding. I do love kids, though. I'm great with kids. I got so many nieces and nephews.
That could be a podcast. Kid trafficking with Colin Cutler.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, I'm just saying,
you know, T-word
we create relationships.
We joke.
We joke. We say.
This is one of my holiday.
They're all jokes
that I got. You like that? This is the weekend mug.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't adult as much as humanly possible. If I can get out of adulting, I get out of it.
So this will actually be the last World of Grey podcast on Saturday for a while, for a couple months. And I'm going to tell you why, Mike Chisholm. Mike has no idea about this.
Breaking news,
Breaking news.
even to the host.
We're going to have to change the
Co-host.
day or time of this.
I'm more of a sub-host.
We could do this in the evening, but I don't know how many people. Nobody really watches this anyway, so I don't think
Nobody
it matters.
watches us.
Yeah. So Saturday, I'm gonna have to start working for a little bit. We have a big software turnover.
Oh, so the work is going to take place.
Yeah. So the account supervisor that works for me, who deals with all that stuff, he
Mhm.
has to be Monday to Friday. Usually works Saturdays. So, but I'm gonna get Sunday, Monday off with Jen, so that'll be pretty dope.
Okay, that's kind of fun. Now, it's not all doom and gloom for our friends of the World of Grey podcast. All three of you, we have good things happening as well. There's actually a production event is happening right now to prepare for this. But you and I know Lisa Rettel very well.
Very well.
Good friend of ours,
Mhm.
and we know Candace Chisholm very well. Good friend of both of ours, just very different
Can you just,
relationship.
for the people, explain Lisa's background? She has a very interesting background.
Oh my gosh,
how
yeah.
we've gotten to this road.
Yeah.
Speak about the road less traveled.
Yeah, no kidding. Lisa is a phenomenal. I almost just want to call her a broadcaster
She's a broadcaster.
because she's more than a reporter. She's more than a journalist. No offense to either of those things. That's not an offensive way. It just shows how dynamic Lisa is. She's she loves human beings. She loves listening to the stories of human beings and all the things that we as human beings do, the positive and the negative, and talking about it and broadcasting this stuff. She's just an awesome person, and she's a very, very good friend of Candace and mine. And she is starting her show back up on Shaw with the hope of this thing actually being syndicated across Canada.
Correct. And the idea here is for this to be a community show where everybody can get
100%.
involved, everyone can show up and watch, and we really get the community involved in the process, in watching and helping produce the content.
Yeah.
We're going to be going out into the street and interviewing people.
Yeah.
Me and Mike will hopefully lobby for ourselves to
Well, we don't need to lobby.
produce a few segments. Well,
I told her I
We
mentioned
do a
it the
little
other
bit.
day,
We
and
like to
she said,
lobby.
"Oh no, I'm signing you two in blood." And,
Oh, yeah.
and she said, "World of Grey is going to
Oh,
have a
yes.
presence on this thing. It's going to be a talk show format with also produced segments and
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff, and it's really going to be dynamic because of the
Mhm.
people who are in it. And Candy, my wife, is going to be one of the hosts.
She
which
is. She's going to be one of the
super
producers.
exciting.
She's gotten in on the ground level. She's going to be a huge part of it. And what you can do is go on to Facebook and like, share, subscribe to
The Real Deal.
Real Deal TV.
Real Deal TV.
It already has a ton of people joined into this group and have liked this, and they haven't even produced a show yet.
No, it's coming.
Mostly of Lisa just putting memes on this page.
Lots of memes.
A lot of memes on this page.
some
which is
some
really
Facebook
funny.
Live stuff. Some oh man, look at that.
Yeah.
Things are lighting up now.
So
Holy cow.
many likes. You know what that could be though? That sometimes when you're trying to like make the screen bigger or something, or like mess around with the screen, it just keeps letting you hit.
Well, all
like.
for it. It's making my self-esteem
done
just
that.
shine right now. I
I
feel
did-
like a superhero.
I did that on
I
like
feel
a
like,
Donald,
oh my God, look what's happening.
I did that on like a Donald Trump video. I was trying to like rewind it or something,
And you liked it all over the
kept
place?
liking it. And I was like,
No.
fuck you, Donald Trump.
Oh
You
no.
red-haired bastard.
You mad liberal.
I'm a mad liberal.
A mad
Yeah,
liberal.
You know, there's a comedian called the Miserable Liberal.
Good name.
She's dating Jimmy Dore, who's a progressive commentator, and he's amazing. He's a comedian.
Makes you think though, doesn't it?
But,
The miserable liberal.
Miserable liberal. That's kind of her comedy gimmick. Bobby Bass is in the house.
Bobby Bass. Automatically, that actually sounds good. The
Bobby
miserable
Bass.
liberal sounds neat. I like the
Bobby Bass, I want to know if you're coming to CACs this year because we got a crew coming.
CACs.
Mike Chisholm is going. So anyone out there that is listening or is going to listen, the CACs is Cauliflower Alley Club, and this is a wrestling reunion. But fans,
It's a
are-
nonprofit too.
It's a
also-
nonprofit.
yeah.
Wrestling fans can come to Vegas and join this. We do it at the Gold Coast Casino and Hotel. It's so much fun, and it looks like we have quite the Okanagan.
Yeah, it's an Okanagan presence going this
Pacific
year.
Northwest presence.
Yep.
I'm not going to say any names because it's not confirmed, and I have to, check my finances. But hopefully, we'll get to do that. But we're talking about the road less traveled right now. We're going to talk about some other things as well.
Mhm.
So stick around if you'd like to discuss other topics. Please write them in the comments. We'll literally talk about anything. I'll talk to a wall. Like,
Mhm.
I don't I don't give a shit. I talk to my dogs all the time. Lisa Reddle, someone who has explored the road less traveled.
Oh, very much so.
Myself being an independent pro wrestler, it's kind of funny. I was saying earlier that my dad says he raised circus folk because my sister was the lead singer of a band for years and years and years, a reggae band, and I am a independent pro wrestler. I don't know. What do you think it is that
My dad had
triggers
a beta VCR.
Well, a lot of people had beta VCRs back then.
I don't know. It's the road less traveled, though. I
It
mean,
is
I'm
now.
just saying, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things technologically that are the road less
It's
traveled.
like saying my great-great-grandfather owned a horse. What a weirdo.
My cousin had a Zune.
You know what's weird about
Did you have a Zune?
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what a Zune is?
No.
Okay, so at the beginning, the MP3 player started to come out, and it's like, okay, and then the iPod shows up, and it had its little shuffle wheel and all that.
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft decided to come out with the thing, just like Windows phones. You know, remember Windows phones? Okay, the Zune was the Microsoft answer to the iPod,
Interesting.
and we all know where they are now. That's why you saw one at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh,
It's like, hey, you wanted to have you this. Apparently, that's what all the kids on Earth had. It has over 300 songs, and he hands it to him, and it's a Zune. It's a Microsoft iPod.
You know what's funny about technology changing is way back in the day, everybody had a horse, and only the richest of people had cars.
Yes.
And now everybody
It's
has
flipped.
a car, but
It's
only the
flipped.
richest people have horses.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know, there are exceptions to that, but yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Horses
obviously,
are.
there's a world of gray for everything, Mike Chisholm. If
Oh.
there's anything we've learned in this podcast, is that there's always a world of gray.
Black and white and gray in the middle.
But for all those young people out there that are thinking about the road less traveled and
Mhm.
and they're being kind of suppressed or ridiculed by people around them, no, you got to do something that makes money. I used to get this a lot. My dad's very supportive, but he was constantly telling me to get into a trade, which is not bad advice.
Sure.
Trades are great. But I wanted to do the wrestling thing. And I, at 15, 16, you couldn't change my mind. You could have waved $1 million in front of me to not pursue professional wrestling, and I would
I'm excited too.
not have listened.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. Like, you know, I have an art department in my one of my jobs that I have. I run a marketing department, and I've got an art team. And one of the members of the art team, she worked for Disney. Like, she was a Disney artist for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was her thing. She wrote her first resume to Disney when she was 9 years old. And she loves it so much. And you know, she works for us now, but we were having a conversation about this exact thing the other day, how her parents still have a hard time supporting her as an artist, even though for the last 13, 14 years, she has made a living as an artist.
That's so funny.
Like, she's made a living, decent living. She bought a house. She's got like cool stuff going on. She worked for freaking Disney. She's worked on Star Wars characters and Marvel characters and Disney characters and stuff and gotten paid to do it. But her parents are, I think she said her dad's an accountant and her mom is maybe in healthcare or something like that. And they're like, go get a job. Please go get a job. They did not want her to go down that road of being an artist.
I think there's a lot of gray area to discuss with that because we're always going to project our beliefs onto some people, not everybody.
Yeah,
some people
the tendency is to
project our beliefs onto others. And I think a lot of that has to do with that dopamine feedback system that we have, because if we can tell other people what they should do, and then they do that and they are successful in that, and maybe they say, yeah, you were right, that's what I should have done, then we are validated in the choices that we have made.
I feel like it could be tribal a little bit as well.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? It's all one group, tribal. We want to have recognition of what we're doing to other people, validating that, right? It's the feedback. That's what a feedback loop is.
So it validates
right?
us in our decision.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
They're going off and doing their thing, but do what I want you to do because that makes me feel better.
Yep. I think a lot of
bullshit.
I think a lot of what we do is just trying to validate our own choices because it's self-preservation and survival. My brain, when I try to dissect human behavior, and I'm not an academic in this at all. Like, I read articles. I've never read a psych book in my life, but I always go back to self-preservation. And I think at the most primal level, a lot of the choices we make have to do with our own self-preservation.
Yes.
I think once that self-preservation is satisfied, then we can explore and be more imaginative and look at creative projects. So I think there is definitely a tipping point.
Right.
But I think we always go back to doing what we can for self-preservation. So I think that's a part of it. I think also society as a whole, when it comes to what society projects as success,
Right.
plays a big role. So if we don't feel like our passion will make us successful because of what society determines what success is, we are less motivated to pursue those artistic roads, right?
Endeavors that don't
Endeavors that
result in
don't
a profit of some
result in-
sort.
and usually it's money, right? Or status or social inclusion, maybe like the family business,
Well,
right?
providing that's money. That like
Mhm.
even just that stability to stand up on your own 2 feet and survive in society. Now, interesting though, when you have that, and you then try and take your, so you have it, and maybe you're, I don't know, building a car on the side, or you've got a hobby where you're doing something, or maybe you're doing some nonprofit work or whatever
Mhm.
that is. But yet still, when that person is going to strike out on their own and do something that may be a little bit off the beaten trail, we still try and many times stall that. The crab in the bucket syndrome, right?
Yeah, but I also think, just to play devil's advocate and go back and forth and really explore this world of gray, I think sometimes that can be out of love too. Like the
Concern.
concern, the
Legitimate
criticism,
concern.
like my dad telling me to get a trade is because he doesn't want me to be homeless. He doesn't want
Yeah.
me to be a homeless independent wrestler, not understanding that, I will find my own path and I will
Sure.
find a way to pursue a career and pursue the dream of pro wrestling. So I think sometimes these criticisms of people trying to go down the road less traveled can be from love. But like we were saying before, these criticisms can also just be from a place of, I didn't pursue what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved, what I was happy about, because I felt like it was too out of reach.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't willing to
made-
get out of my comfort zone.
Right. I
Yep.
wasn't willing to get out of my comfort zone.
Yep.
So you shouldn't get out of your comfort zone, and you should be like me. And
See,
that validates my choices.
And
So it all comes
there's the
back.
world of gray right there. You've got concern and you've got control,
Mhm.
right? For whatever creates the reason for that on either side. This
Mhm.
creates the reason for concern. Well, it's
Right.
my child. I'm really concerned about them.
Mhm.
I want them to survive on their own.
Right.
Or the control of, hey, no, I want to control you and what you're doing. I didn't do that, therefore you shouldn't do that. And it's maybe my issue,
Mhm.
And
I think to do what you love and be successful in a lot of ways in this world, in this economy, to be perfectly blunt, is really hard to do.
Yeah.
Right. To reach the level of success that society has decided is success while doing what you're passionate about without sacrificing what you love is just really difficult.
it is.
And in turn, in all of us pursuing self-preservation, which we have to do, so a lot of us don't even have a choice to pursue the things that we love, or maybe we pursue the things that we love, but the market is so saturated that we'll never get to the level where we can actually survive.
Yeah.
It causes us to just give up on that pursuit.
Yeah, which is really a shame. Like I don't get me wrong. I do believe it's valuable to look at your passion and say the words, can I monetize this?
Oh, totally. 100%.
And that's a great thing, because if you can monetize it and you can live and work in your passion your whole life, man, that is what a leg up that is, living in this world.
right.
But I don't think that we should go down to the extreme of, I can't monetize this, therefore I should not spend large amounts of time on this.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right either.
And I think if you were to like maybe research this or do a poll, a lot of people now in
Mhm.
this economy, in this world,
Mhm.
are very unhappy.
There's a lot of unhappiness
There's
out
a
there.
lot
I
of-
see it. I see people who are just
Yeah.
miserable and they're just
Yeah.
shitting in other people's cereal. Like
And-
they're just there's a lot of misery out there,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate.
And even people who are pursuing these passions, there's a lot of mental health issues out there. There's a lot of genetic mental health, and there's a lot of things in this world that are going to shift that genetic component into a real mental disorder. I know I've had these issues with trying to balance a work, like a professional work that brings in money and a salary,
Yep.
and like personal life and
Mhm.
relationships, and my love for independent pro wrestling, which is in itself is a drug. But I will say, for those of you that have that passion, that have that itch, that know that if they're not going to pursue these dreams, that they're going to regret it.
Yep.
If you can push through that wall, if you can get through the uncomfortable not just feeling, but atmosphere around you of people constantly criticizing you and telling you what you should and should not do.
Yes.
If you can push through that and pursue what you truly love, there is nothing that compares to the satisfaction of actually accomplishing some of these goals.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I've never wrestled in front of 10,000 people. Yes, I've never made hundreds of thousands of dollars in this business, but I've got to be in the ring with guys like Jeff Jarrett, with Mick Foley, with Val Venus, and obviously thanks in turn to Invasion Wrestling, but also
it would have happened another way. You're that good and you're that dedicated that it would have happened
yeah,
another way.
And also
because you were
All-Star
going
Wrestling,
for it.
All-Star Wrestling was a huge help with this as well.
Sure.
I got to wrestle Gangrel in All-Star Wrestling, Tommy Dreamer. These are some of my favorite matches that I got to pursue. But on top of wrestling these guys, I got to teach myself that I could create these characters and create something that connected with an audience, both with the Canadian Classic character and the Cougar Meat character, and definitely in completely opposite ways. But I got to validate myself. I didn't need to project onto anybody else to get that validation. I can validate myself. Yeah. I also am in a unique position where, because I never was able to reach that next level, I understand how difficult it is. And when other friends of mine and colleagues of mine within the wrestling industry start to hit these same walls, we can talk and discuss and understand that this is a difficult business, and we can relate to each other, and we can talk about it, and we can discuss our successes.
Yeah.
Teresa Hall, who is Raven Lake, she had a amazing independent career, and I guarantee you she regrets nothing from it. She sacrificed herself, and she now is retired due to concussions, but she knows what it's like to sacrifice, and we do it because we love it, because there's something different in people like us and yourself who pursue
quirky, off the wall things.
Yeah, it's just something in us that makes us do it. It's why I'm doing this ridiculous podcast that has 5 people watching at a time. It's why I go to production. No, I'm not saying this. This is my point, though.
Yeah, no. It's the process it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's not the result. It's the process.
As
itself.
Miley Cyrus has said before, it's all about the climb. But it really,
we are quoting Miley Cyrus in The World of Grey. What in the hell has happened to the world? I don't understand.
We don't realize this until we get to a point.
And Colin did it, not me.
Right? I love Miley Cyrus.
I wouldn't have called that. See, yeah, if one of us was going to say that, I think if you'd have taken a poll, most of the audience would have thought it'd be this guy that says that, not that guy.
Miley Cyrus is awesome.
All right. Okay.
She is.
All right, settle down.
I have a Miley Cyrus CD in my Jeep that I've been listening to for like 3 months.
You listen to CDs?
Yeah, I have a CD player in my Jeep.
I have a CD player in my vehicle too, but I mean, I don't really use it.
The funny thing is that CD is actually from a set of CDs that Kyle had.
Kyle likes Miley.
Yeah.
Kylie.
But, there's like 3 songs on there. Like, she does a cover of Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Her covers are amazing. Her cover of Jolene is fantastic. Although I like the White Stripes one better. But let's take this back, though. You know what the thing that's messed up about what you're talking about is, and I love when you bring up examples of yourself or Raven and how they, it was something that you loved, so you followed it, and you had no real outcome for it except for that you love to do it and you're going to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. There are things, this is a road less traveled, but it's not, it's only because of the pack mentality. There's a lot of flipping people out there that play softball. They play softball now, or they play baseball. Some play fast pitch.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're not playing because they think they're going to make the majors one day.
Oh, yeah.
They're not playing for money. They're working their day job and they're going in sore the next day because they just did a slide into second. And we're okay with that. We're okay with the fact. In fact, there are dozens of leagues where in the Okanagan alone.
Hi, Pete.
Yo, Pete.
Pete's birthday coming up pretty quick.
Hey, P-Day. Happy P-Day. Or happy B-Day, P-Day. Yeah, there we go. But at the end of the day, society accepts that somebody is on 3 softball teams and they played all weekend at a tournament in Vernon, and then they went over and played in a tournament in Penticton, and they double dutied it the whole way, and they play 3 nights a week. And so during softball season, they're maybe not working as hard, or they're walking around all sore through the office, right? And that is something that we all just accept, because softball is something that we say, okay, yeah, that's one of those things where people can pursue this sort of thing. But at the end of the day, things that are the road less traveled, like pro wrestling, like art, like whatever else it might be, there isn't that universal acceptance.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Is that tribe thing as well?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the thing is just to when we slap the tribalism label on everything, I mean, we're obviously missing a lot of different aspects
Sure.
to tribalism.
Sure.
I think you're right, though. I think tribalism plays a big role in if someone's pursuing something as a career opposed to a hobby. Oh, it's okay if it's just I've had people say that to me. Oh, so wrestling's more of just like a hobby. It's a fucking passion that I do to the best of my
Something you do in
ability
your life,
when I
yeah.
get booked, and I will take it as far as I can. Like
Yep.
this is where when we start slapping labels on everything is
Mhm.
when, and I hate to be the fucking cheesy hipster that says, oh, I don't like labels. But when we start slapping labels on things, we start to degrade people's
Sure.
abilities and passions and successes. But the last thing I'll say on this topic before we move on is I think it all comes down to how we quantify success. And this
Yeah.
is a real issue I have because it's something I've had to teach myself and reconstruct the box of success.
Well, it's something you're negotiating. You're figuring out your own definition of it,
Right. And
as life goes.
and I feel like for me, I have been, and I constantly have moments where I'm like, oh, you've done nothing. What was the fucking point? Blah, blah. And it's
Yeah.
usually when I wake up in the morning and can barely move my neck and my back hurts and my knees hurt and my shoulder hurts. It's usually when I start to question everything I've ever done in wrestling.
Yeah.
But I've had to reconstruct what I think is success. And I've been very, very lucky in this business. And I've gotten to a level where I have respect from the people around me, where I am now mentoring others, where I get to be in the ring with these amazing old former WWE guys. And so when it comes to everybody trying to get you down with you wanting to do the things you want to do, you just have to believe in yourself, push through, and just always remember why you're starting and why you want to do it. And just know that this life is really short to not pursue the things that you love, especially in the privileged West. We are so lucky to be in the West,
Absolutely.
to be privileged,
Get
to
some
wake up.
perspective.
Yeah, get some perspective and take that privilege that you have being lucky and just spawning where you spawned, like a video game. Like you just spawned in the West. You're
Mhm.
lucky as fuck.
Yep.
And this has nothing to do with race or gender.
We're in the
or
top
anything.
1% of the world when it comes to quality of life.
Yeah, and if you're watching this on a laptop or your phone and with any type of technology, if you're
Nobody's watching this. Come on.
All right. Well, then there's really no point in me having this whole speech.
It's the process. It's the process. Yes, there is.
But you're lucky and you can pursue anything you want to pursue, and fuck the haters.
That's the whole thing. I've really, it's funny. I'm a relationship guy and have always been that. That's kind of one of my strengths. And I can count on literally one hand, and I'm very, very blessed. And I realize that I'm so grateful for this fact. I've had maybe 5 like relationship craterings in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
With that would include
Explain.
haters. That would include haters. Like I've never really had to deal with haters very often. A little bit in elementary school. There was once or twice in high school. And since after high school, maybe 2 or 3 times. This year actually was one of those years I had to deal with that a little bit. And the perspective you're talking about is so important because we need to be able to remove ourselves from the situation we're in. And we may think the situation we're in is dire. We can compartmentalize it and take it down where we feel like it's claustrophobia. We're in the size of an elevator. When really, if we popped our head up a little bit and took a look around, we realize that our little teeny tiny situation that we're dealing with that day, or that person, that hater who does not spend time in your house, who does not, spend time in your daily life.
Who's again probably trying to validate other decisions he's made, he or she has made.
That's right. They're doing it because they're sick of their own shit, and they've got something. You didn't deserve this hatred, but at the end of the day, also you need to compartmentalize that hatred and realize the fact that the world is so much bigger than that hatred. Just like the world is so much bigger than this little wiener dog that Colin put on the table here. That's named after a tag team, not even a wrestler. This dog is named after a team.
Hardy Boy.
Hardy Boy.
But I like that you're starting to talk about relationships, and that's another topic I'd like to get on today. And I think it's time for a segment that I'm going to call Cougar Meat Kid Colin Cutler's Entering the World of Gray.
Entering the World of Gray with the Cougar Meat Kid, Colin Cutler.
Correct. So the topic today is relationships, and I'm talking about intimate relationships, spouse relationships. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bisexual. We all can relate. Most of us have been in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are still in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have sworn off relationships for a time.
Sure.
Some of us are also in relationships that we're not quite happy with, and maybe it's time to cut those relationships loose and let them go. And there's always a reason to not, right?
Sure.
Hey man, you don't seem happy in your relationship. I think maybe it's time that you think about cutting this person loose
Mhm.
and moving on. I can't do that. Their birthday's coming up. I can't break up with this person right before Christmas. It's almost Valentine's Day. What kind of monster would break up with someone right before Valentine's Day? St. Patrick's Day is coming up. I don't want them to drink themselves to death.
Do you think that's ever happened in the world of language, that somebody didn't break up with somebody because St. Patrick's Day was coming
I
up?
don't know. I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there is too, especially in Boston.
Speaking from
Especially in
experience,
Boston.
if you're unhappy,
I'm gonna lock that down
you're
for St.
just-
Patty's Day.
you're just making excuses because staying with this person is just comfortable or it's the routine.
Yeah.
You're not doing anyone a service.
Okay,
All
so can
you're-
I ask a question?
Yes.
What about when kids are involved?
Yeah. So, and again, gray area. I think being
Yeah.
civil is definitely a mandate for this. But is this a ideal situation to stay with somebody who you're fighting with around these children all the time? Is that something you want your children to see? Or-
See, I'm always a fan that, and I'm not saying that relationships break up always because of another person. They do many times, but many times that other person is a result of the unhappiness in the first place.
Mhm.
You know, that person wouldn't have even had the time of day to enter that relationship if there wasn't an opportunity, because the relationship wasn't being watered. And I talk about the term watered on purpose, because I believe that the grass isn't greener on the other side.
Mhm.
I believe the grass is greener where you water it.
Mhm.
And so there's a part of that where people aren't happy. Well, you know, a fundamental question is it time to cut loose or whatever? Or is it time that you focus on and start watering the grass that you're standing on already,
Mhm.
and really putting your life back into a balance where that relationship becomes a real priority, and spending time in that relationship and nurturing that relationship and growing that relationship. How many relationships out there that have ended might not have ended if just the appropriate amount of work would have gone into letting it survive?
No, and I totally agree. And relationships take work, they take effort.
Always.
And I think on the other side of what we're talking about, there's also the mentality of I need to find the perfect person.
Yes.
I'm always looking for the perfect person. Human beings are not perfect.
Nope.
Okay. Human beings are extremely flawed.
Especially this guy.
In my opinion,
So many flaws.
human beings suck. But we need to work on being better people for the people that we're in relationships for. So
Yeah.
maybe it's not the person in the relationship, it's not the other person, maybe it's you.
Yep.
So yes, I think there's times when we need to end it, and we need to all move on, because you're not doing anyone a service just delaying the inevitable. But we also need to constantly work on these relationships. I also think that there's some young people out there that may be in amazing relationships that could be long term, but because they're so young, they're thinking, oh well, no, I can find someone better, and there's someone else out there that has this, and this, and this, and we're just conditioned to constantly look and be nitpicky. We're like a bad episode of Seinfeld,
Okay.
where we're just I don't know if you were a Seinfeld fan, but
Yeah,
didn't
there's
matter-
a few bad episodes, but not very many.
didn't matter who they were dating, they would always find a little flaw in that
Yeah.
person. That would be the reason. Like,
That's right.
she had man hands.
Hmm. Well,
Which is
you
one of
know,
my favorite.
man hands is that's a real hard one to get past for some people.
To quote Bo Burnham, is one of my favorite comedians, and we're all looking for love, right? If you want love, lower your expectations a bit. That's what we need to do. We need to lower our expectations. Just a few, because Prince Charming would never settle for you. If you
What?
want love, lower your expectations a lot. You may think your dick is a gift. I promise it's not.
Hashtag dick gift.
That's my Bo Burnham lines. Love Bo Burnham.
Yeah, that's
But we
good.
do. We need to. If you want love, like, human beings suck. But
Yeah.
the best thing about being a human being is love.
Yes.
We don't have to feel bad for self-preservation, for doing things to survive. That's human instinct. That's our animal. There's parts of us that we do things to survive, and that's why we suck, because we're still primal monkeys at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
we do things that make us suck. But you know what sets us apart is we have that beautiful prefrontal cortex that can help us express empathy
Yeah.
and love
Yep.
and connection, and that's the difference. And we don't have to nitpick people. You should love people for their positives and for their flaws.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody that loves you back and expresses that, you should blossom that relationship.
That goes beyond the intimate couple relationship as well. You never studied the Bible growing up, did you? Did you ever study the Bible at all? No. So in the Bible, there's a character named David, and yes, it's the David who slew Goliath, and David's been known for a whole pile of things in the Bible.
We've bored Hardy, by the way.
Oh, Hardy is like
actually
so
we've
comfortable.
bored both the dogs.
We've bored everybody.
Oh, right.
In the Bible, they talk. David has this relationship with a kid named Jonathan. And it is this relationship where it's the king's son, I believe, and it's a relationship that shouldn't really be happening because David's a commoner and this kid's nobility, but they just have one of those friendships. You know, they have one of these friendships where it's like it's almost like they're family members. It's just this amazing platonic relationship. And you know, fast forward into literature, when I read Tolkien, and Tolkien would talk about how Sam felt for Frodo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they translated it really, really well in the movies.
So can you explain what movies you're talking about?
So The Lord of the Rings, when Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings, the main character, his name is Frodo, and they're both hobbits, and he's got a buddy named Sam. They're both hobbits, and they just have this friendship that is this unbelievable friendship where they just love each other so much. And has nothing to do with being a couple, has nothing to do with anything like that. Have you noticed in our society, like when the Lord of the Rings movies came out, that almost was ridiculed? People were like, oh, they're gay for each other.
It's kind of like me and Kyle.
Kind of like you and Kyle.
It's
like,
actually exactly like me and Kyle.
Well, except for the jury might be out on that one. But
see, you just proved your own point.
Exactly.
We made out like 3 times. Like, I don't really think that that's gay. That's just kind of like, oh, you're drunk and silly.
Right.
2 of those times were actually in front of an audience. But you know what?
There you go. So you see what I'm saying, though? Like that's the point right there, is that our society has gotten really, I think, uncomfortable many times in many ways when that type of friendship or that type of love between 2 people gets expressed and expressed well, that people will pass it off. They'll write it off as a joke. They'll try and make it something that it's not. But really, at the end of the day, we as humans have a capacity to love. You're talking about this love. We have a capacity to love exponentially. But I think that our society has really turned down the value of that and turned up the distraction, turned up the speed, turned up all this other things. And we wonder why things are getting out of balance.
I love that you said distraction, though. And that's 100% what it is there's just so many distractions now to distract us from what the people in power are busy doing, right?
Right. Thanks, David.
They're pretty much, you know, fucking us all up the ass every day. And there's just distractions. Jen said this yesterday, which was hilarious. She's like, I forget what the fuck we were watching, but it was just something about how, like,
fucks us up the ass every day.
I said it. I can't take it back. It's live. She was saying like all these little things that are just hey, look over here. Look over.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, we were watching the Avengers.
Awesome.
We were watching the Avengers, and it's when Thanos is wiping out what's the girl from Guardians of the Galaxy, the green girl? Gamora, yeah. Gamora is a child.
Earth-shattering.
Her planet is half the population is being wiped out, and he has her looking at the knife, the balanced knife.
Not realizing what's going on.
She goes to turn around, he just turns her head, and he goes, no, just look at the balance, concentrate. And Jen goes, that's exactly what the fuck's going on in the world right now.
Exactly.
Look over here. It's distraction.
Yep.
And that's exactly it. And this does it. You're right. It helps, or not helps, but it convolutes how we should act in relationships. And we're constantly told to pursue this, that, and the other. That's why we have all these reality shows.
Pursue other people's values, other people's goals.
That's exactly it. Other people's values. That's why
you should be saying, what's your goals? What's your value? What do you want to pursue?
But here's the other thing too. Now we're starting to get into the free will is as we grow up in a society that constantly tells us what our values are, we start to morph into this reality with all these keeping up with the Kardashians and Instagram and I know it comes back to this a lot with the social media, but that's exactly what it is we start our opinions and what we believe, our beliefs start to morph to what society is telling us what our beliefs are. And we get away from positive relationships and we're pursuing like money and power and all these different things that we're told are important. And it makes us turn on each other and it makes us scratch and claw. And it does really affect the way we go about positive relationships.
So is free will the road less traveled these days?
Yeah. The free will. We keep saying it, we never do. We could do an entire podcast
Thanks, Drapes.
on free will.
Drapes
and
likes my beard.
oh, come on, man. I'm growing mine out too.
I know it's good, but mine's more wizard-like.
Yeah,
than
yours is quite.
It's getting
quite
more
large.
wizard-like.
But the free will, we could do an entire podcast of free will. Nobody would watch it, but I could discuss it all day long.
I think free will is the road less traveled, though, because like those artists, like the wrestler, like these relationships that we're talking about, things that really do speak to our heart's desire. They really want are the things that make us happy.
Nate likes
Are
my beard.
discouraged.
Nate dog.
I like your beard too, man. I'm just saying, mine's a little more wizard-like. That's all.
It is.
Just for now.
What up, Nate?
Nate Dogg. But at the end of the day, I think free will might be becoming the road less traveled. But those are the people. Here's the ironic part: is a lot of the time you get a Robert Downey Jr. Or you get a John Malkovich, or you get an Oprah Winfrey, or you get somebody who has gone down that path to individualism in an extreme way. And those are the people we like.
But I feel
those are the people that we follow. Those are the people who are like, oh my God, Robert Downey Jr. is so cool because he's so quirky. No, he's just doing whatever the hell he wants to do. And I think that a part of the appeal to a guy like that is the fact that he doesn't listen to people,
right,
and he is as individual as he wants to be. At least that's how he comes off in his persona. In
my opinion, I feel like there's a tiny little sliver of free will that plays a factor there, but I also feel like it's culture, because he could have had people around him that were also actors, and because I don't know his background. I think his family, someone in his family is an actor, isn't one of his parents
singer or actor?
But that can also be that culture around you, a very like my sister being a singer of a band could have been a huge reason why I thought it would be great to be a performer, because and my mom was a figure skater and she always pursued her passion. I don't necessarily believe that it's just this free will moment where we go, no, I'm going to be different. I feel like it's the people around us or other factors. Like I was saying I think on the last one, where I asked all the wrestlers in the back one day, who here feels like they didn't get enough attention as a child, and everybody put up their hand.
Interesting.
Right. So I think that there's a lot of factors. But I think that we as a society need to help breed that culture of individualism and nonconformity, where we're really getting away from that. We're being told what we have to believe, and we have to be told and especially in this post-truth era where there's so many lies being told to us. So now we're building beliefs off of false predications of what's real and what's not, of gossip. And that's really forming, and it's forming us quickly because Twitter and Instagram and algorithms, and it can just be fed to us in a nice little line. And
it's scary, man.
And playing off emotions. This is where we have a left side that should, if it's not, but is trying to play off the emotions of hope and empathy. And then we have a right side that's trying to play off the emotion of fear. Emotion is very underrated. We're in this weird era where everyone's like, oh, logic, and we have to be logical and intellectual. And I feel like that's super important, but that's not what hooks people, and that's not what changes people's mind.
No.
It's the arts. It's getting into the back of the brain and planting those seeds, right? It's the emotion, and we have so much fear mongering right now. If anyone is following Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr. on Instagram, holy fuck, is this guy a egotistical prick? Like, he's just so condescending, and he first of all, he's spreading things that are just not true. He acts like we're
not mad liberals, we just have opinions.
I'm a mad liberal. I don't know about liberals. The classical liberals now are fucking bullshit. So I'm not. World of gray. I would never.
World of gray.
I would never label myself as a liberal by today's standards.
Correct. So this particular guy, you're just not happy with the behavior of this particular guy. Like you might be. But I think it's important though, because if somebody just looks at what you're about to say, and I want you to still say it, but at the end of the day, if somebody looks at you and says, you know what, oh, yeah, he feels this way about Trump Jr., so that must mean he feels this way about everything. No, there's other liberals. There's other liberals out there who you will call them on their shit just as much as you're calling 100%. Trump Jr. That being said, so what's Trump Jr. doing?
Well, listen to Nancy Pelosi. She did that.
There you go.
She did that.
She's
that
a mad
town
liberal.
Hall,
That's a mad liberal right
there. About healthcare. and Medicare for all, which, like, I'm sorry, at this point, there's so much research for Medicare for all. 67% of America wants Medicare for all, including the majority of registered Republican voters. And she's a fucking Democrat. And she's going, well, I mean, well, you got to see here. I mean, young people, I mean, it's not really good for young people because, what do you mean? It's fucking everyone's covered and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
This is it's been researched by the fucking Koch brothers, and I am a mad liberal. Hear that? But it's been researched by the opposite side, and they still
I've heard you
are
go off on
proving
liberals before.
we are still well. I am talking about a liberal.
That's what I'm saying.
And she's just blah 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 blah. Jimmy Dore has a good video on it. He called it a word salad with bullshit dressing.
Oh,
and that's exactly what it is.
That's not going to taste very good.
But it was just she's trying to be she's trying to sound like a liberal, and these are fucking he was saying that Mitt Romney could have gotten these policies passed as a Republican. Like, it's just ridiculous. They're Republican policies that she's pushing because her donors are big pharma.
See, that's such a hard. I don't like when lobbyists can get in the way and sway influence to the degree that they can these days. It's really, really disheartening, because I feel like we're living in a nation. If we are living in the top 1% of the world, and are the leaders in innovation and the leaders of moving things forward. Don't get me wrong. The last 100 years, we've had a lot of fucking advancement. It's been unbelievable. The last 100 years compared to 1,000 years before, crazy in the amount of advancement that we have. And I do look at things with the optimistic lens. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we could be so much further ahead. And I think one of the things that's stifling that process is these special interest lobby groups that do exactly that.
And technological,
they affect our leadership.
The other one is technological planned obsolescence is also a huge, like, stifling technology, right?
Yeah.
For profit only.
Yeah.
Is another.
We're going to delay
reason.
things.
Yeah, we're just delaying things. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it for the rest of my life. Is it's a problem of like ability to application, right? So potential. I always say potential to application, and the potential humans have right now to the application is the ratio is way off.
Yeah, we
should be way further ahead. And I'm not complaining. Like
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and we're very lucky to. And yes, we have lifted the standard of living all over the world, way higher than it has been before. But it's just morally, it's just not where we should be. And if anyone,
it doesn't feel right to me.
It just does. Yeah, it feels
icky.
Yes, thank you. Icky. I was just gonna say icky. Yeah, it does. When you look around and it just feels icky. And there's times when I feel bad for just having what I have, for even having the things that I have. I don't have much.
See, I'm gonna throw out a curveball into that. I don't feel bad for anything that I have. I feel grateful for everything that I have.
Oh, for sure. I feel grateful.
And I think that's the way to go. And I mean, that's where you can look at that top 1% of where we are, and you can say, hold on a second, look what I have. This is unbelievable. What I have, including opportunities. It's not just monetarily what I have. It's look at the girl I get to sleep with every night. Look at the kids that we get to spend time with and watch turn into adults, and look at the grandkids they're having. Like, that is an unbelievable privilege
without starvation or being under attack by drone bombs. But I also feel like we shouldn't get complacent in talking and discussing about things that we need to change in the world and things we need to progress. I was thinking,
well, what the example of that is? Yeah. The example of that is we shouldn't get complacent, because look what happens many times when you get somebody, and I know immigration's a huge thing right now, but if you get somebody who's a refugee and they come on board, there's a buddy of mine, he came here from Bosnia with nothing.
Yeah.
Because his family was blown to shit.
Yeah.
And they end up in Germany, then they end up in Winnipeg, and now he's here. And this guy knows where he came from, and he sees the opportunity of living here, and he has 100% taken that opportunity to the limit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that needs to pause. In my opinion, we need to pause and realize that we owe it to the rest of the world to try and make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Because we have the opportunity to do it. And if you gave that other 99% of the world that doesn't live nearly as well as we do, if you give a big chunk of them the opportunity to do that, that's exactly what they would do.
Yeah. And this is why I don't believe there's anything wrong with being liberal or being conservative.
No.
I feel like we should all be liberals that want to be conservatives. We should
Mm.
want progression to a point of sustainability.
Yep.
We should strive to be conservative. We
Yep.
should strive to get to a point where being conservative and being happy with the way the world is as a whole is where we are. Is that
we just live in truth all the
we
time.
just live in this is
Yeah.
this we made it. We did it. We're
Yeah.
taking care of as many people as we can take care of. We've dampered corruption the best we can. We are feeding people. We are housing people.
People can live
Everybody-
authentically in a way that doesn't affect the way that others live.
Yeah.
Like that's where we need to be. We need to be in a place where you and I can both live authentically,
Mhm.
and that expression of life, living authentically, is
Mhm.
not going to upset anything.
or affect others. We
Affect
also
others. Yes.
need to take care of the place we live in.
Yep.
We don't need to. It's like dogs don't bite the hand that feeds them, right? We came from the earth. As cheesy and hippie as this sounds, we are the fucking earth.
Yeah.
We came from the earth.
Yeah.
So why we're polluting it? It's the same thing as eating junk food on a daily basis. We're just polluting the vessel that gives us life. And we need to take care of each other. We need to take care of the planet. We need to be progressive to a point where we can be conservative and be proud of where we are. And if you're looking around and you're proud of the way the world is right now,
Yep.
you need to look around a little bit more. You need to maybe Google Yemen and the humanitarian crisis that's
Yeah.
going on right now. And I feel like this is something
Shake your head.
I don't care if there's one person watching or 100. I'm going to start talking about this on every fucking podcast that we do.
Yep.
Because the humanitarian crisis that's going on in Yemen right now, which is hugely caused because of Western society, is something that needs to be talked about and needs to be dealt with now.
Yep.
And I know thanks to Bernie Sanders and other progressive liberal senators, they are definitely working on this and trying to get out of Yemen. But I know that ignorance is bliss, and I get that. And if that's the type of person you are and you don't want to watch this, like, we have one person watching right now. And
Sure.
I totally fucking get it because it's depressing and I tend to have that effect on people. But there's nothing wrong with looking around and just being aware of what's going on and just saying the words, "This isn't okay."
Yeah.
And I think if we all just start with ourselves, start with our family,
Yeah.
start with our community, and just start breeding that culture of positivity and love and connection
Yeah.
and just taking care of each other and not just, looking down at people and go, "Oh, well, you squandered your opportunity and I worked hard for what I did," and blah, 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 blah. What does that mean? Where's the line? Who deserves what and who, like, at what point? And I mean, if you're at some point, if that's going to be your argument, you have to just be okay with people dying for no reason.
Yeah.
And maybe you are okay with that. I wouldn't blame you because it's self-preservation. It's the human aspect. It's the primal aspect to us. But I mean, for me, it's just not how I am. And I believe in empathy and compassion. And no one's better than anybody else.
And that's totally true. And I couldn't agree more with what you just said. I said this in a training session the other day with one of my teams. I said, and I don't know if it's me or if I heard it from somebody, I'm just regurgitating it, but how you act is what you attract, and that's on an individual level and it's on a corporate level. It's on a much grander scale as well. How you act is what you attract. And it's totally the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And on a grand level, you talk about Yemen and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
How these governments act is what they're going to attract.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so, the chickens will come home to roost when it comes to that sort of stuff. So at the end of the day, in our personal lives, if how you act is what you attract, let's all try and act in these ways that you're talking about here. And that will spread. It'll spread first and foremost to other people who think the same way, and you'll attract those people in your life. I believe Lisa Rettel, for example, working on The Real Deal, which we're going to have a part of here.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be great. We attracted her because of how we acted.
Yeah.
And she came into our life, and now there's this collaboration that's happening, and it's going to turn into more and more and more. Yeah, we've got one person watching us now, a couple hundred people who watch it throughout the cycle whenever we put one up.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? How we act is what we're going to attract. Those people are going to be a part of that, and it's going to turn into something bigger. So hopefully we're all acting in a way that benefits the world.
Yeah, and our society as a global whole is in a growing phase.
Did you just say our society is a global whole?
As a global whole.
Our society is a global whole.
Our society as a global entity
Okay.
is in a growing phase right now.
WHOLE, not HOLE.
And change is going to happen one way or the other, either positive
Homonyms,
or
pal.
negative.
I just said homonyms, pal.
I'm
on a
trying to hit
podcast.
people in the feels right now.
Yeah, and I'm busting it up.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry
That's
about
what we're
that.
all about. That's good.
Okay.
We are in a growing phase right now, and I feel like we need to water our society with positivity and love.
It's the truth.
Is the World of Gray podcast. In a world divided by black and white arguments, we are here to explore the world of gray. I am Kelowna's Cougar Meat Kid, Colin Cutler.
I am the unnamed Mike Chisholm. Actually, the untitled. We're going to call it. I'm the untitled Mike Chisholm. We're not adulting today. Thank you for being a part of what it is that we do.
Peace. And
Love. Peace.
And now YouTube gets the bonus.
YouTube gets the bonus.
And content.
No one's watching, but one day
Nobody
someone will stifle across it. Wouldn't it be
watches.
great if aliens one day discovered this? Said, hey,
That'd be fucking cool.
yeah, that'd be
And they're
really
like, why
cool.
the fuck didn't you guys listen to those guys?
Yeah, or
Like,
just
after
hey,
we're
those guys
dead
had a
and
point
gone?
of view. Too bad nobody knew. Hey, let's
Yeah.
clone those guys, and then they bring us back.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then we get to hang out with aliens.
Yeah, and then they like just breed like a few humans and they repopulate the earth for us. That could be where we came from. There's a lot of
There's a
theories on
lot of
that.
people that think that. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing though?
There's that one theory where people think that aliens showed up and put a little bit of their DNA into monkeys, and that's where humans came
Yeah.
from.
That's the missing link argument. I've
Yeah.
also heard that that's widely disproven because there isn't really a missing link. There's just like slow progressions that were never really
Right.
because it was just this slow. There's no like Neanderthal man and then like blah blah blah. It just kind of. But I don't know about that.
I don't know either.
That's weird. Because if
YouTube.
you look through the historical like I remember when I was taking history and we had Neanderthal man, and you flipped the page and it was Babylonian was the next chapter. And I was like, excuse me, I was in grade 7.
Mhm.
And I said, excuse me.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, literally I was like, what was in between here?
Yeah.
And he goes, what do you mean? I was like, this just seems like a big jump when we go from barely making tools and fire to having taxes and buildings.
From the mouth of babes.
and
That's
it
exactly
was
right.
literally
That's
teacher had-
exactly right.
had no answer.
Yeah, no.
He's like, well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even remember if he even like said like, oh, we don't really know. I feel like it was just like a
We have no idea.
Durr.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Hey, YouTube.
see ya.